And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, we're going to take a look at an expansion of a game that I recently reviewed and liked quite a bit, which is called King's Forge, and the expansion is called King's Forge Queen's Jubilee. I found this at the game store recently, and it does make the game. It takes, I think, the things out of the game that some people did not like about it. So it's a small mini expansion with some cards. Let's take a look how it plays. This expansion comes with some dice, comes with 5 new gather cards to mix in, and a whole deck of new craft cards that you'll use instead of the original game. Let's take a look at the gather cards. Now here we have them. You can tell they're the expansion because they have the little queen logo at the bottom. Essentially you're going to take these and you're going to mix them in with the regular craft cards that are in the game, and then you'll set up as normal. This one, you got to get rid of 3 dice out of the game of any color, and any one color gets you 2 green right in your hand, not on your smithy. This one's interesting, the Gypsy Camp. You pre-roll up to 5 dice in your supply right now, and if those are still there during the crafting phase, you don't roll them again, but you can use them. It's kind of a pre-look to see which dice, if you get that early, it's really cool. The Merchant, you got to give a green and get rid of a green. One of the other. This has 4 spots, so you can either get rid of 1 green for 2 blacks, or you can completely remove a green from the game from a red. You can get rid of a green for a green, or just temporarily, of course, or you can use 2 of any color to get a green with the Merchant. The Monastery, you can get rid of 2 green out of the game for a blue and put it right into your hand. Or you can get rid of a green out of the game and use one other any color and put a red die right in your hand, not on your smithy tile. That is the Monastery. The Conjurer, you can get rid of 2 dice out of the game of any color, and you can use any other color for 2 dice to get a blue. Or you roll these Conjurer dice, 1 per player, and then essentially you give these dice to each player that's there, and then you say which type of die that is used, and everyone gets to use it. And we have the Festival. You pay a green and all others. Take a green and all others get a black. Or you can pay a green and any color to get 2 actions where you flip the dice to the other side. That action was pretty standard in the base set. So you mix these in with the regular cards, and you're still going to use the same amount of cards as normal, but now some of these may be in the game. Now, when looking at the new craft cards, you actually put out more cards than normal. For a 2-player game, 11, 3, 13, and 4, 17. The reason why I put out most is because you need 1 more card than the base game to win the game. For example, a 2-player game, you need 6 cards instead of 5, and for all the other ones, you need 5 cards instead of 4 like the base game. So you say, does it take longer because you need more cards? No, actually it's about the same, if not a little bit faster, because the highest card in the base set was a 125, which was really hard to get. The highest card in the new set is an 87, so it's quite doable. So the cards range is a little bit easier. You can see how they kind of balance them. So we have a 33 from the new set, a 33 from the base set, and you can see that, okay, this one I needed 2 blacks, 2 black 3s and a blue 2, and a red 6 and a 2. So maybe they're somewhat balanced there, but the numbers are lower in general in the new set. Now, one big also interesting thing of this is that each of the cards now has a special ability. So if you're going for one of these cards, let's say this one was gotten for an earlier round and this one came out, okay? And you're going through some of these. Now some of these have different powers. This one, once you claim this card, you immediately get a one-time black die. However, if you get this one, for the rest of the game during the craft phase, you'll get to add a +1 to any black die, +1 to any red die, and some of the big ones actually add +1 to any colored die. Some of them add you +2. So it actually helps with the engine building, as you start getting these cards, it allows you to manipulate the dice more, which I know was one thing that some people did not like about the game, was there wasn't enough manipulation of the dice, and this sort of speeds that engine up. So it's a little easier, the numbers are lower, and it speeds the engine up. And so what you do is you set these cards out instead of, you basically do not play with the base sets craft cards. You play only with the Queen's Jubilees, and the rest of it plays the same. All right, the Queen's Jubilee. Wow. This is one of those expansions, it's a no-brainer. If you like the game King's Forge, you gotta get this expansion, although it is very hard to find right now. I think they're gonna be printing more at the end of the year, but even if you go online right now, I can't find another copy for sale. I happen to have run into that copy at the local gaming store and bought it up. It was the only one there. But it is super awesome for an expansion because, number one, it doesn't add any complexity to the game. Number two, it doesn't add any time to the game, but it gives variability, and I think it makes the game even more enjoyable because the thing I liked about the game in the first place is the ability to get that engine building and moving. And this helps that even more because every time you get one of those craft cards, you're getting a special ability on the bottom. And that's really cool because it starts to speed up that thing so as the game goes on, you have more abilities to manipulate dice, which is probably one of the things that you've heard maybe from other people say they didn't like about the original game, is that they do all this stuff, they spend all these moves getting dice, then they roll the dice, and boom, they're stuck, and they don't get to craft anything. I didn't find it that bad. I thought getting the cards that manipulate the dice were important, so that didn't bother me, but I knew it bothered others. For people that did bother, this squashes that, because you take out all of the craft cards from the base set, and you use all the new ones, and they're easier. The highest number is much lower than the highest number of the base set, and you get those special abilities. It gives you cool decision making too, because hey, if you could literally get one of two different cards, which one gives you the better special ability? Better things to think about, makes the game a little bit faster, makes it more enjoyable, makes the engine building process even better, get that thing going, and you get those 5 new gather cards, which then mixes things up even more. That gypsy card is real cool, lets you roll dice early, and you may or may not use them towards the end. Overall, this is what you want to see in expansion. It's cheap. I think it was $10 retail at the store. And this is one of the expansions that I will never play the game again without it because it makes the game better and it doesn't add any complexity or length. That's King's Forge, Queen's Jubilee.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.